Hey everyone, today is my first Photoshop image recording session thing with a face cam, and I'm still like, it's still very awkward to use it and to get used to it, and we're just doing this quick little image here because it was sort of top of my list to get it colored today, and it's based off of a cosplay pic, a cosplay and Monster Hunter. So what we're going to be doing today is coloring it. I'm looking down because I normally have my light on overhead and a very well lit room, but not doing that because I actually want to have like behind me be all dark, even though if I get out of the way you can actually see a little bit of stuff behind me that isn't actually covered up yet. I am planning on actually getting a bunch more foam core to sort of make a wall, a matte wall behind me, so that the face cam actually looks passable. And yeah, that'll be my task for over the weekend. Hopefully before I have one more record I want to do sort of before then. So it's gonna be one more record that's kind of like this, and then we'll be back to then we'll actually have something kind of good looking behind me, and I could probably pull the camera away from my face a bit more than what is going on right now. Now you may also notice up there, like up there, right up there, right up there is a little P in the corner. That should have an annotation going to my Patreon page, because this is going to be the first official video for the Patreon page, as sort of like my video I'm going to upload and uses the tester copy, tester upload for the Patreon page. And then tomorrow, which is Saturday, I'll be doing an actual video that's completely dedicated to the Patreon page. But today we're gonna just be working on this, and it's the cosplayer's Vampy Bit Me, who does some pretty awesome cosplays. And I'm not being completely exact with the lighting on the picture. I want to get I want to get some more lights and darks in there than normally would be, and I'm gonna really warm up her face compared to the picture, which it is. Don't get me wrong, it is. It's just we're gonna just push it just a little bit more, because the image, the only thing about the image is I kind of had to up its size, and that makes it, it blurs it out, makes it a little rougher to see certain details, and that happens. So that's why we're gonna go in and be a little heavier than what I'm seeing visually with some of my some of the features that I'm seeing in the picture. And we're not going to be so heavy-handed as to just go with like full on. Excuse me while I scratch my shoulder. Full on overly made up, but we are going to put in we are going to be a little creative with it. I'm deciding to go, usually I do the cool purple with the warm yellow, but I think I'm going to do the warm yellow and the warm purple together, just to keep her face nice and warm. Because the whole thing about faces, and this is regardless of a person's ethnicity, you generally want to keep them warm and living. In this case, we are gonna go with some very like slightly warmer colors than I normally do for a face. Because it's a real person we're doing and not like a character. Sounds kind of funny to say it like that. And there are some things I am totally going to create here. Specifically the red. I put red in her eyes and on top of her eyes, and I'm actually gonna tone it down a little, but yeah, I'm putting that in there to sort of put a bit of fantasy, bit more fantasy into the overall design. Like I've jokingly said, I have an artistic license and I'm not afraid to use it. I'm still gonna stick very heavily to the reference though. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm totally creating everything here out of nothing. It's something, some things do have to be sort of made up, but you generally, or at least I generally do try to stick to my reference, unless I'm doing like a very definitive, a very like obvious and definitive trace over. Now the thing for me with eyes is your eyelid has a shadow, so I almost always go in and put a very obvious shadow in there. And then for me, I actually do use white on the eye itself, because eyes are what you would call a high hot. Put a little bit on the nose, right there, there. Now I'm gonna pop her chin up just a little bit with a little bit of white. Yeah, and I'm not gonna be mugging the camera as much as I did in the Grim Dawn video. I think that's why that Grim Dawn video I did on the gaming channel, I really look like I got my ass kicked a lot in that. So I think it was because I was totally like at the camera, and I'm like, you know, I have the camera. I don't necessarily have to act as much for it, just enough so it's not boring. Also for this, there isn't you know like a thing happening on screen right now. So aside from me doing artwork, so it's like there's nothing for me to react to. So I don't actually have to be like pulling out a inner Robin Williams or something. Yep, I'm gonna grab some red. I'm just tapping this red in here because again, it's all about that. It's all about that livingness on the skin. And I'm probably gonna hit up everything with like a warming, some warm tones at the very end of it. What I'm looking up at is I'm looking at the picture itself, and I'm looking and I'm like, oh right, I changed a lot of that, didn't I? And actually, I have sort of a cutout of the face here. Nope, here, because I am going to. I'm going to be pulling samples from this for the colors. And we're actually going to start that in a new layer. Because I want to make sure that since it is Stygian Zinogre armor and there is sort of a very definitive color scheme to it, but it's mostly black. But the thing is, it's got like a very like pinkish purple sheen to it. And we're going to go in and we're going to just sort of tap that into our lights on it. Can we get away with this in... Oops. Overlay. Because I kind of want to keep my... I do want to kind of keep my brush strokes in here. I don't want to lose them, but we want to get the color in here. As we can be very, very heavy-handed on this to get it on there. I am probably going to keep her hair white, even though the hair is more grayish. The white is more visually interesting. It's kind of funny that I actually don't know the female Zinogre armor as well as I know the male Zinogre armor, because Zinogre is my favorite monster in Monster Hunter, as some of you may know, and and I actually do wear his full armor set, even like very late into the game. I'll throw it on because it looks cool and I like it, even though it's not, you know, the best armor set. I know that this is red that's mostly coming from that, but I'm using it a lot on here because the Zinogre armor does have a kind of pinkishness to it, and we're gonna keep the pinkishness in through the whole thing because it'll tie everything together. Again, creative license. Again, creative license. You can't stop me. Oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it, and none of you can stop me from doing it. Click that off. I am, however, going to start tapping in the yellow we were using. You know what, I'll keep it normal. I'll do the brushes or color dodge and we'll work from it with this. Come on, Photoshop. Oh, good. Oh, okay. Like, come on, Photoshop. Need you here. We're recording, damn it. Yeah, anyone that's ever used Photoshop probably understands that sentiment, where it's like, oh, suddenly the program will just be like, I'm gonna think for a minute. Okay, we're gonna continue doing this. I think you're good. Because there are always those times in Photoshop's like, hang on, let me think about this for a minute. Photoshop has crashed. We are going to drop that back just a little bit. Because I don't want to have like overpowering glow effects on everything. Grab that. Switch over to multiply. Keep the brush on multiply. We're just going to tap in a little bit of purple. Into places where we'd have the shadow tones. Technically we would have them throughout the hair a bit as well. The hair is very flat to me, but yeah, I don't like that. It just looks airbrush burnt in there. The hair's a little flat, but I think I can live with it. I actually like having it kind of stark and graphical like that. Did I just delete the layer? Okay. Okay, next up, we need, actually we still need the blurry brush for this, because the ears have a glow effect. Just a little much for me. I did it in the reverse order of what I should have done. I don't actually think the headband glows at all. I don't actually remember the ears on the Zinogre armor glowing at all either. But we're doing it anyways. Just a little bit of it. Okay. So, almost done. Yeah, this is a quick one. This is gonna be like a maybe half-hour one. Yeah, I'm one of those. This is maybe going to come up with another video I'm going to post that might be a Patreon exclusive. I'm one of those weirdos that actually flips his... actually does flip his Wacom pen over to do the erasing. And what's funny, I never actually did that when I had a regular tablet. Like, I only started doing that when I got my Cintiq a few years ago. So it's like, and it's like I actually sort of jokingly, you know, made a bit of jokes about, yeah, I basically made fun of flipping it over to do the erasing like a jerk. And that ended up, I guess you could say it did backfire on me, in that I do that now. So when we go to do like our I'm gonna do some final adjustments on this to sort of tone some things back and bring something and emphasize some things and do little changes to certain things. And I'm hoping that will give the hair, like, the hair has some depth, but I don't mind it being kind of flat and graphical. But I wouldn't mind having just a little more in there. And hopefully when we go over that, the hair will be less starkly white, and it will in fact inherit a bit of color when I do the last little bits here, because there is sort of a thing I want to like a last thing I want to do to sort of get a punch up. Uh oh, I feel a sneeze coming on. Oh, sorry to anyone wearing headphones on that one, or watching the camera for that matter. I had to touch something dusty while moving things around on my desk, so yeah, got a little bit of dust in my nose going on. So yeah, we might have another sneeze. I just want a little, detail on the hair at least. Doesn't have to be every single follicle is drawn out, but I wouldn't mind just having a little in there for visual interest rather than have it be completely matte white. Though graphically speaking, I do like having it matte white. Okay, so our final thing we're going to do, we're going to take this photo filter, we're going to do a warming filter, and we are going to do a sepia filter. And these two things will give us some color in the background and sort of just warm up her face and just warm up the general image a bit. The next thing we're going to do is we take a gradient map. On one side of the gradient map, we do our light, and on the other side, we do our dark, and we switch it to overlay. And this will sort of pump things up a bit, but it will also give us some. I'm gesturing, and my hand is not on the is not on screen. So this will pump things up a bit, and we'll get a sort of all of our darks inherit our darkest color, and all of our lights inherit our lightest color. As I look over at the camera to see if my hands are on screen. See, I really do need to position, I really need to position the camera back a bit, but I want the background to be this, dark. And maybe get a real light instead of my desk lamp. That's all sort of on the list of things I gotta do. And the last thing we're gonna do is hit it with some curves. Just the tiniest bit of curves to punch up our lights a bit, darken our darks a bit. And then the last thing I want to do, and this can actually, last thing I want to do is I would want the visual interest focused mostly on the face. So we take and we do a small Gaussian blur. And I actually have a mask for this already. And then you mask it off. And what it'll do is down here will get a little blurred out. So it'll be sort of that pseudo photo effect we want. And that's sort of the gray, what I did with the grayscale image there. Do I need... Okay, anyways. And wolf overclocked. And I am going to tab and Control R, Control 0. Let's get this out of the way. So, that would be a very quick color job on this kind of piece of fan art I've been working on. It's maybe I would call it a 2-hour piece. It's about a 2-hour piece to do, and yeah, it was a fun piece of fan art. So thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Also, don't forget, please go to my Patreon, and if you enjoyed this video, show some support. Anyways, thanks again, and I'll see you guys next time. Again.